In the factory shop, CEO James is talking to Hung about the wood factory problem. Things in the wood shop are not simple. Accident caused by falling metal debris hitting workers is affecting the company's reputation. He had someone take the victim to the hospital and deal with the aftermath. But I also know the press will not leave it alone. Hung nodded, his face pensive. I will personally go to the factory to check. What about compensation? Just follow the most transparent process. Groaned softly, sighed, and changed the subject. What do you think about you and Ly Tieu Ca? Hung squeezed his hand lightly. James looked at his brother and said slowly, I know. It is very difficult for a father to accept a woman who is also a single mother, pregnant with ex-husband's child. If her ex-husband really knows his mistake, maybe I should give him a chance. To get back with Ly Tieu Ca? Hung frowned and did not answer immediately. I think your feelings for Ly Tieu Ca are real. But if this love makes me lose my family, is losing your career worth it? Meanwhile, Ly Tieu Ca still struggles to make a living every day. She got up early in the morning and carefully picked the fruits, eggs from the basket, and go to the market to sell. Cold winter weather, but she still had to try. For Tiu Han and the baby in her belly, she doesn't want to depend on anyone, including Hung. But life is not easy. One day, Ly Tieu's ex-husband brought CEO Hung's father to her house. This is where she lives. Life was peaceful before the hero appeared. She left me because she had more money. Hung's father looked at the small house with doubtful eyes. Really? Of course, if it wasn't for the money. Why did she leave when I wanted to come back? Before Father Hung could say anything more, a cold voice rang out. Who betrayed first? From afar, Hung walked over, his eyes looking sharply at his ex-husband. I forgot to tell my father that he was the one who cheated first. Right. Ex-husband paused, his face pale. I know I was wrong, but that doesn't mean you have the right to make up stories about it. Ly Tieu Ca. Hung's father looked at his son with a gloomy gaze. Do you really want to protect her to the end? Without hesitation, Hung replied, I will protect her and her child no matter who objects. That evening, Hung brought candy to visit Ly Tieu Ca and Tiu Han. I bought snacks for you and your child. Little Han shouted. Ly Tieu Ca just silently received the somewhat uneasy look. Hung, I heard your father was here. Hung nodded and said gently, I know you don't want to depend on me, but you don't need to worry. I will not let anyone hurt you. Ly Tieu Ca looked at him. A warm feeling rose in my heart, but also a little uneasy. Then Hung slowly continued, I will go abroad for a while. She startled, her heart ached slightly. Why? Because I want to give you some space. If my ex-husband really knows his mistake, and I want to give him a chance, then this will be the time for me to think. Ly Tieu Ca clenched his fists. She doesn't know what she's feeling. Is fear or disappointment? Before she could say anything, Hung gently stroked her hair. His voice is deep. I respect your decision, That sentence made her heart confused. Is this a sign? Shows he wants to give up on her. Hung left, carrying the words that made Ly Tieu Ca's heart confused. She didn't know what to do. Her ex-husband started appearing more often, showing concern and care. Ly Tieu Ca, I know I'm wrong. Give me a chance to make it up. At first, Ly Tieu Ca kept his distance. But when he saw Tieu Han happy because his father came to visit, she began to waver. She doesn't want her child to lack parental love. One day, her husband took her and Tieu Han to a fancy restaurant. You see, I have changed. I have a stable job and can take care of you and the children. Ly Tieu Ca just kept silent. She wants to believe, but her heart did not feel happy. One evening when Ly Tieu Ca came home, she accidentally heard the conversation between ex-husband and a friend by phone. She was so stupid to think I would come back. Wait for me to regain my honor. She is worthless anymore. Ly Tieu Ca's whole body was cold. Turns out her ex-husband was just using her. She walked out with a disappointed look in her eyes. He never changed. The ex-husband was startled, but quickly regained his composure. I listened to you explain. Enough, I was going to give you a chance. But he broke it himself. Ly Tieu Ca is determined, not giving the ex-husband a chance to justify further. From that moment, she understood that her happiness never belonged to this man. Hung returned from a business trip, heard that Ly Tieu Ca and her ex-husband could not reconcile. He immediately went to find her. When I saw Ly Tieu Ca, Hung said nothing, just gently put on the table a familiar box of cakes. I know you like this. Ly Tieu Ca looked at him with red eyes. Hung. He didn't ask if she was okay, because he knew she had suffered enough. Hung approached and gently hugged her. You don't have to try anymore, I'm here. Ly Tieu Ca's tears fell down, but this time it was tears of relief. She knows the one who truly loves her never leaves. Ly Tieu Ca leaned on Hung's warm arms. Tears rolled down silently. She was tired of the hurt, because of betrayal, because of the torment. When it comes to making the right choice for your child, I tried, but I couldn't, she said softly with a trembling voice. Hung gently squeezed her shoulder. His deep eyes carried endless tolerance. I know I don't blame you for trying, but from now on, you don't have to try to suffer alone anymore. Ly Tieu Ca looked at him with eyes filled with emotion. But his father still does not accept me. Hung smiled softly and reached out to wipe away the tears on her cheeks. Leave that to me. The important thing is, do you still trust me? Ly Tieu Ca paused. She looked into his sincere eyes and nodded slightly. I believe. The next day, news about CEO Hung getting back together with Ly Tieu Ca spread throughout the company. James found his brother with a slightly awkward face. Hung's father knew what happened, and he was very angry. Do you think I will change my mind? Hung calmly asked back inside. No, I just want to remind you that if you choose this path, I have to prepare myself to face father. Hung smiled softly, his eyes full of determination. Don't worry, I've never been a give-up person. That evening, Hung returned to the villa. Father Hung sat on the sofa, serious eyes when looking at son. I went back to that woman. Hung sat down opposite his father in a calm voice. Yes, and this time I will not leave her again. Father Hung snorted coldly. Do you know what you are giving up? No woman who had ever been married or had children even got pregnant. Someone else's child. Do you think this family can accept? Father and son never asked for anyone's acceptance. But I love her. Sharp eyes do not avoid. If Father forces me to choose between this family and Ly Tieu Ca, I will choose her. The words resonated powerfully. Make the room fall silent. Finally, Mr. Hongmin narrowed his eyes and lowered his voice. Okay, if you've decided, take responsibility for yourself. Hung stood up and bowed to his father. I always respect you, Father. But this time I believe in my choice. Ly Tieu Ca did not know what happened between Hung and his father. But that night when he came to find her, his eyes were still as steady as the first day. He said he would protect her. Is everything okay? She asked worriedly. Hung smiled gently and took her hand. It's okay because I have you by my side. Ly Tieu Ca looked at him and suddenly felt strangely peaceful. No matter how stormy, just need someone to hold my hand. She knew she would no longer have to be afraid. Despite Father's objection, despite facing criticism, CEO Hung remains steadfast in his choice. He does not care about fame or status, but just want to be with the girl he loves. Ly Tieu Ca. About Ly Tieu Ca. After so much damage, she finally understood that true happiness does not come from holding on to the past, but from courageously stepping forward. And the person who always stood there waiting for her was none other than Hung. They do not have an easy path, but it is love and perseverance help them overcome all challenges. Even if the world changes, even if everything falls apart, CEO Hung will still stay with Ly Tieu Ca because to him she is home, is all.